Hi, and welcome to Creative Chelsea. Yesterday I received my paper pumpkin kit for July 2019, and I started creating with it and came up with a couple alternate cards. So let me show you those. There's this one, You're the Best, You've Been on My Mind, and then this Happy Birthday. So I'm going to show you today how I made these three cards, and we're going to start with You're the Best. So this one uses a lot of the supplies that came in the kit. So you have your card base, you have this long piece of DSP, some leaves, your piece to stamp on, and the only thing that I needed to add was a second card base. And this one is just from another kit that I am not going to be using anymore, so I'm going to cover up this with my card front. And I also needed a piece of Mossy Meadow, and this is 2 inches by 4.5 inches. So there's not a lot of stamping in this one, so we're going to start by cutting our paper. So on the original card, I don't know if you can see, but I layered the card front to the card base because I wanted, this has lots of layers, and so I wanted that extra layer. And I cut down the DSP in half. So this is a 2.5 by 2.5 inch square. So I'll show you that right now. So I took my card base and just right in the middle at 4 1/4, I cut it. So now I've got the piece that's going to sit over that design, so I don't see that design. Okay, so then I'm going to cut this down a little bit. So we're just going to cut it to 4 inches by 5 1/4. Okay, and that's going to sit on top. And then we'll take our long strip, and I think this is originally is 2.5 by 5, and we're just going to cut it in half. So now we have 2 small ones, so we can use these on different cards. I'm just going to use one, and then my Mossy Meadow. Sorry, I keep calling that Mossy Meadow, and it's Mossy Meadow. I did that in my other video as well. Okay, so you will need to cut a flag out of the bottom, out of one side of this cardstock. So I love this flag punch, so I'm just going to slide it in. If you don't have it, you can always just cut it with some scissors. And so now I've got all my pieces ready to assemble. So now I'm going to stamp. So we're going to use the You're the Best stamp from the kit. Let's see. I really like this, all the different sayings in this kit. So we're going to start with this one. And we're just going to do it in the Pretty Peacock. You did get a Stampin' spot of Pretty Peacock in the kit, but just to make things a little quick and easier, I'm just going to use my big Stampin' pad. Okay, so let's go ahead and assemble the card. So you'll need some snail and some dimensionals and glue dots that came in the kit. So snail doesn't come in the kit, but it's something I just use all the time. So this is going to go over the card front. So I'm just standing it up so that I can get it even on all sides. We'll go ahead and fold that over. And then this just goes right in the middle on top of that. Okay, so then our Mossy Meadow cardstock, and that's just going to get centered like this. And then grab that square. And for me, I just am quick, And so I'm just going to put a little bit of adhesive in the middle, and then I'm going to adhere my leaves to that. So I just put one in the corner on the top right, and the other one in the corner on the bottom left, and then this one I kind of put at an angle because I want to see a lot of it after I put my saying on top. Okay, so I've got this, and this I did give it some dimension with some dimensionals. Okay, so let's put that, and I just want a little bit of that Mossy Meadow peeking out on the side. I'll just stick that in the center. And then this one has a little bit of the twine wrapped around the back, and I do that with, so I add some snail to the back, and then I find my twine, and I just hold it and wrap it around my 4 fingers 3 times. Grab some scissors. And I just try to keep them mostly together. And just add it to the back where I put that adhesive. Okay, and then I did add this with some dimensionals. I always put the dimensionals over the string so that it stays in place. Okay, so this is going to lay on top like this. So it has 1 layer of dimensional here, but because there's dimensionals on this side, I need 2 layers of dimensionals over on this side. So I'm going to remove that covering and then add a second dimensional on top, and that will give me the height that I need on that side. Okay. So this saying I want just up a little bit higher than center. Like that. Okay. And so you want a little bit of that DSP to peek through on that side, and a little higher than center so that you can see that cute leaf that's on the bottom. And then the last thing we did is add our sequins. And for this card, I wanted to use all the dark blue sequins so that they matched the pretty peacock ink. So I just put a big one right here. You can put them wherever you like. Put another small one down here. Okay, so we are done with that card. Okay, so let's go ahead and start on our second card. So the things you're going to need is the card base, and this is just as is from the kit. You'll need a piece of Seaside spray, and it is 5.5 by 3.25. You'll need the patterned DSP that comes in the kit, the stamped on piece, and 1 envelope. And this piece back here, this pattern, comes from the envelope. So what you're going to do is just cut the envelope apart. Alright, so now you'll have 2 pieces. This is the pattern that we're using here, and you'll just need to cut a piece that is 2.5 by 3.25. So I've got one already. And then I am going to use this extra paper here for these circles on my card. So let's start with our medallion, and we're going to do 1 in Pretty Peacock. Okay, we're going to do another one in Seaside Spray. And now we're going to make 3 in the Terracotta Tile. One, 2, and then since I'm going to be using this larger piece and I'm not using the triangle, we can go ahead and stamp one on there as well. So grab your pretty peacock, ink up your greeting, and then let's stamp that. Great. So I have an old punch. This is 1 3/8 inches. You could probably get away with 1 1/4 or 1 1/2. And I'm just going to punch out these circles. So another thing that I added to my card was a little wink of Stella. And I just added them to the circles. I don't know if you can see how they're a little bit shiny. So I'm just going to put that on now. So just really quickly add a little bit of shine to these elements. This pretty peacock kind of picks up some of that color and smears it around, but that's okay. The way I made this card is I took this DSP piece and I cut it in half. And so that it comes to 4 1/4 or 4 1/2. So I'm going to do 2 1/4. And then I'm going to add that to my Seaside spray. Okay, so we're going to add them to our Seaside spray with some snail. And they're just going to go right up to the edge with a little bit of a border around. Okay, so you can see that I went to the edge on this side and left a border on the top and bottom. And now this is going to go in the middle to cover that gap that we have. And you can kind of try to center it. Just eyeball it. Great. And then this is going to go right on our card front. And I just centered this as well. Okay, so then these I just added with some dimensionals. And since these dimensionals they gave us are so tiny, I'm going to just do 3. If they were bigger, I'm kind of just a 1-dimensional kind of girl, but. So I've got all my circles have dimensionals. And now I'm going to place them. So this one, I needed to have it be on a dark background so we could see it. So I'm just going to put it up here on the top. So I wanted some of this terracotta tile to show up randomly on my card because it's such a bold color. And so I'm just going to put it, kind of overlap it a little bit right there. And then another one. Just going to stick it over here on the side, and then this one is going to go down here at the bottom kind of as my little accent piece. And then this one as well, I felt like it needed to be on the solid paper, so we're going to stick that right there. Okay, and our greeting is just going to come right here in the middle. And so I can kind of see that right here I need to have a dimensional, but I don't really need any here. I'm just going to put snail there. Okay, so snail here, and then dimensional or 2 right there. All right, so kind of line that up. I've got my twine that came in the kit, and I did 32 inches. It's a really good length for double wrapping. And I have a trick, and I don't know, maybe it's just silly, but it works for me. So I gather the 2 ends of the string, and I find the middle, and then I put the strings like this. I don't even know how to describe what I'm doing. And then the two strings actually go through the loop, and then it's tightened. So I can kind of move it a little bit so I know where that knot's going to be. Okay, so it's tight to the card right now. I'm going to put my finger here, and then actually I'm going to pinch it, and I'm going to loop it around. I don't know if you can see. Maybe I'll come a little close. No. Okay, I'm going to try to loop. So you're making a loop, going underneath the string, and then pulling those two ends through. And then you're still making it tight, so you're holding it. You might need to tighten it just a little bit. And you're pretty much making a knot right where that loop is. It's got a little loose on me. That's okay. So then I can open that up. So for me, that kind of just helps me. And now I have a knot right where I want it. And then I can tie a bow. So maybe I'm crazy, but that is a different way of tying. So give it a try. Next time you want like a double twine instead of just wrapping it, then you kind of know that you've got it halfway. So I'm going to put a glue dot right here, just to hold it down. Okay, so the last thing we're going to do, we're going to add the sequins. And for this card, I just used all light color sequins. So it's because I'm putting them on the dark background. So one there, one there. I'm gonna put another one. Maybe I'll put it right here. Great. So we have finished card number 2. Okay, so let's go ahead and make our last card. So for this card, I really liked the striped and the solid of the Mossy Meadow cardstock. And so I wanted to use both, so I needed a card base. And I'm using a Sahara Sand cardstock for my base, and you could probably use any color you wanted. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this right in half. So that's at 4 1/4. And then I'm going to angle this one. So I need a ruler. I'm going to measure. So from the top, I'm going to measure 1 inch and make a mark. I'm going to flip it, and I'm going to measure 1 3/4 inch. Okay. All right, so I'm going to then take those 2 points. So here's a point here, and I'm lining it up with my cutting line, and here's a point here. So I know that I'm going to cut straight from those 2 points. All right. So we're not going to use this upper piece right now, but you could easily put it on another card. I'm going to take my card base, and I'm going to add the Mossy Meadow to the back. And if you wanted, you could also cut this and then match them, but I'm not going to do that. Just going to stand it up so that I know that it's even on that side. And apply that, and then do the same for this. On the bottom, stand it up, and then just match it up to those edges. Okay, so we've got this fun background. We've got an angle. And then this piece came from our envelope again. Go. So I really love this nautical map look. So I just cut off this part of the envelope and then use this piece to create this piece. And so it's just a little roughly that. So 2.5, yeah, 2.5 by 4.25. And that's just going to go straight down in the middle. I'm going to turn it because I really like that look and I want to be able to see that. Great. Okay, so then the rest of the elements are just from the kit. We've got the 2 clouds and the sailboat, and then this blue strip. I didn't use this one. I think that goes to another card. So I'm going to put that off to the side. So the sailboat has these little punch outs that you need to remove. Okay. And then for this Pear Pizzazz piece, I did stamp around it. And then just get some Pear Pizzazz ink with the medallion. And we're just kind of stamping around the circle. Oh, I guess all over the circle, really. And while we're stamping, let's go ahead and do the sentiment. And that just goes on the little square piece. And we've got that happy birthday, and that's in the pretty peacock. So let's start with adding the sailboat to our circle. So I just placed that near the bottom, and then I added some dimensionals to the back of this. Okay, so we put that on. Now let's do this one. So this is going to get snail and this is going to get a dimensional. Want it moved in. So I do want it moved in a little bit, not right close to that edge. So that works for me. And then let's do the wheel. And I love that they gave us these little circles so that it can be popped out. Okay, and this is just gonna go kind of up top. So the very last, oh, I guess we're not last, we gotta do our clouds. So let's just add some snail on the back or glue dots, whatever you want to do. I'm just gonna put one in the middle and then one off to the side. Okay, so for our happy birthday, add some snail and then grab your twine. And let's do, I think 8 inches should probably be good. And you're just gonna leave a little bit off the one end, come and wrap, and then come back. Oh, I needed a little more, so we'll just cut off a little piece. So let's see, if we were to go, we would really need more like 11 inches of twine. There. Okay, and then add some dimensionals to this. And then place that on top. So we kind of want it in the bottom to be in the middle of that blue piece and then covering up some of the wheel. Okay. Oh, you know what? We kind of need this to have 2 layers. I kind of forgot that we did 2 there. So grab another piece, and at the end of it, we're going to add a second dimensional on top. Can you see that? I'm putting it right on top because the green circle is 1 layer, and then we're adding a dimension on top of that. So we need 2 layers of dimensionals so it can lay flat. Okay, there we go. This really wants to stay there, huh? That's okay. Okay, so the very last thing is some sequins, arcing sequins, and I'm gonna do a mixture of both for this one. So we're gonna do some light up here in the sky, and then we'll do a dark one down here by the boat. Great. Okay, so we have made all 3 alternate cards with our July 2019 paper pumpkin kit. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please subscribe, like, and share. Visit creativechelsea.com for more information about Paper Pumpkin and to start getting your monthly kit. Have a creative day. Bye.